We go. Yo, comment section podcast PH episode 6. We've done 6 PH episodes. That's a pretty good damn job. I don't know. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but today's episode is going to be on black relationships or black men in relationships in regards to black consciousness and just having a conversation about how we as men have been, as black men have been, conditioned, raised, probably brainwashed or, poorly influenced, and how those decisions end up affecting our relationships, not only our love life, but relationships with family and friends and how we perceive the world. I believe this is a conversation that can only be had with and amongst black people, feel me? So if you're not black, hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to our TED Talk. Welcome to us, getting in deep. This is a part of my philosophical, series, so that's why it's PH. I have an entertainment-based episode pulling up tonight. It's gonna be on my Cartoon Network throwbacks, or that's what I titled it. It has no particular order, so I'm waiting to do that. Give me 1 second, as per usual. I got my bottle of water right here from Sam's Club, so if you don't drink water, shout out to the people that don't drink water. Alright, so that was a little synopsis on what's going to happen today with today's episode. Thank you for pulling up. Yo, McLaren, how you been doing? So let's get this intro out of the way. Alright, yo, shout out Nigeria. Shout out the BX. Shout out New York. Shout out PS111. Shout out OLPH. Shout out Chicago, shout out Hume2 Fam, shout out UA, shout out Echo 354, and I've been doing this recently. Shout out to the people that I probably lost touch with, old friends, people from back in the day, back in the neighborhood. Yo, I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are doing fine. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal. We're just gonna push forward and leave it at that. It's no beef. It's nothing but love, respect, and I hope you're thriving and I hope you're happy. So I just feel like throwing that in there because I don't really reach out to people as much as I should, but that's my own fault. So let's see if we can get the guest on today's episode into the live and then start our conversation from there. So let's see. So, let's see if we can get it going. In the meantime, comment section podcast episode, ET episode, I believe 3 or 4. Tonight at 10. After this episode, I'm gonna take a moment to eat real quick. I got some falafel warming up somewhere. I got 10 top 5 throwbacks from Cartoon Network from the Cartoon Network channel back in the day. So it's a little nostalgic trip. I think I had a good selection. It's in no particular order, and I'm surprised to figure out that there was a lot of cartoons that actually had like Emmys and won awards. I did not know that, but it was part of my little topic base. All right, what's good, Miracle?
Hi. Sorry, it looks kind of crazy in the background.
Nah, that's perfectly fine. All right, no, you got yourself situated right there.
Yeah.
Let me dump down this music. So, when we spoke, you said that you wanted to focus up on hold on, before I even run into things. Who are you and what do you do?
First, I just have to ask, how do I get rid of this? It's covering my face.
That's a part of the live experience. You have to make sure the camera is at least risen up half. Wait. You said it's covering your face?
Yeah, like these comments and stuff.
Oh, I believe you. Well, I don't think you can get rid of it. I'm not gonna hold you.
I've never done this before. It's okay.
It doesn't show in the actual IGTV video, so you're just gonna have to disregard it for the live for now. So it's just gonna pop up shortly on the bottom half of the camera, and then it'll pop up from there.
That's so weird. It says I'm requesting to be in your live. Okay. Anyways, sorry. My name is Miracle, and I'm a regular person. I work.
That's a fact.
I work. I work in sales. I have a hospitality background.
Okay.
I play basketball, makeup, hair, all that girly stuff.
You said you're an artist and a mixologist. Okay.
I am. I am.
What's
I
a
am.
mixologist? I gotta Google that word real quick.
Um, so a mixologist, it's, well, I'm trying to find a better word, but basically a mixologist is a person that masters the skill of mixing liquids.
Oh,
I'd say liquids and not alcohol because I'm trying to do all of that. Liquor, juicers, protein shakes, all that.
I like that. All right. So you gotta go to school to be a mixologist, correct? Or
I don't think so.
all right, shit. Just throw some shit together and just. I used to play a little bartender game back in the day on the computer where you used to just pick like the drinks. I used to take the cranberry juice, or,
Hmm.
a little bit of a digital mixologist myself, just a tiny bit. But all right. So when we spoke, you said that you wanted to talk about a few topics that mean a little bit something to you. So I titled today's episode "Black Men in Relationships." And it's funny because we got this iconic black man in the community right now who basically cheated on his wife and is looking like a whole damn clown on the internet. I'm not
Crazy.
gonna say that most of the toxic men in this world right now are rejoicing because he was their public enemy number one. Not gonna hold you, but we don't get into that. But why did you want to pick black men in relationships, and why did you want to focus on, changing our consciousness and the information that we've gotten so far?
To make it fair, I guess I should just say black people
Mm-hmm.
because um, I would be singling out just these men, and pretty much that places that implies that they're only tied to relationships and what we're going to discuss when it's not just about them. Um, Now that I think about it, but I chose that topic only because I have recently experienced things that you know I hadn't really dealt with before.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more and more I started seeing things, the more and more it interests me to get a better understanding of why a person may act the way they are. And in society, I don't know how it is for other races, but I know for our people, like at home, it could be rough, not the best structure. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
this is in a lot of races. I don't want to say just, I just say ours because, I can't put my feet into another.
I'd say single parent households are more common
Right.
in black communities. So that's a fair analogy and it's a fair
Hmm.
adjustment to say.
Yeah.
Um,
So with that, it's just, I feel like society, not only just at home, but society tells men that they must always be strong. Don't cry when they're children. Like, you know, little boys, they might cry, and the parent is like, crying is for sissies, crying is for this and that. And, that puts a damper on the way that this young boy's brain is developing when he gets older
mhm.
and the way he goes about things. This often happens where, um, in men and women, where they've experienced that and then they grow up and they have this built up anger and it's misdirected, and often they're using people as placeholders
Mm.
instead of actually really knowing an individual. They're just having them as a placeholder until they can figure out where to put these feelings or what's the right thing to do. That's kind of my take on it. I've experienced that literally, um, and learning age does not come with maturity. Um,
That's a fact.
and I've seen this in a grown man where it's just like, and then it trickles down to like the parenting,
Definitely
how
parenting.
they were raised. And, with my past relationship, I had engaged with this person's parent, and I'm like, now this makes sense,
Mhm.
um, but still just not understanding.
Okay, let's see. We're probably gonna get a few personal stories. I know I got a few personal stories in this topic. When it comes down to parenting and raising a black man, I'm a black man, young. I was raised by a single mother, so single parent household. I would say that I went against the statistics. I don't have that detrimental mentality where it comes to like, don't show emotion, don't do this. But I've seen it. I can say you probably should be a therapist for my older brother because he's a different story. But it's very much a defense mechanism, and I think it lies and it portrays itself heavily in the black community because you're as a black man you feel like you got a target on your back. Feel me? By different factors in the world, like it's not even just about like, hey, don't show emotion, on the softer side. It's about don't get angry
Mm-hmm.
on the other side. It's about don't act out of pocket, don't yell, don't make yourself look more threatening. You know what I mean? So I think it's like it's a weird balancing act between the two. On one side, you have the societal pressure and a societal norm of telling black men, "Nah, you don't cry, you don't sit here, you tucking it up, feel me? You take it to the chin and you keep it pushing. You'll deal with it when you deal with it. You'll drink. You'll do whatever. You'll forget about it. Feel me? I've had experiences where I've been in messed up situations growing up, messed up relationships growing up, where I didn't address my personal traumas, my dilemma. I didn't address I didn't take time to heal, as people like to say, and it can be detrimental to the next relationship. It can be detrimental to the people around me. I can give you a personal experience and a story about that later on. But on the other hand of that is when it comes to black people, we understand that black men don't act a certain way. Don't let the police get called on. Don't let somebody have to view you as as an unprofessional person in a professional outset. I have a
Mm-hmm.
personal story about that. I used to work at Home Depot back in my sophomore year in college or freshman year, right? Great record. Never really late. Always came in, worked the front end. Feel me? One day, this happened while I was up in Albany. I had like a line a little bit backed up. Feel me? I was taking care of like this construction worker stuff, and this lady had came in, said some like underhanded comment to me, right? And about the line, and I'm just like, all right, cool. You must not know me. I take care of lines real quick. Like this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
She came back into the line later on, and it was about like three people ahead of her. And I was knocking dudes out. Feel me? I was just like, "Yo, get out of here! You next person, you next person." And then she pulls up, and I'm just like, "Hey, take care of my lines over here." And I don't know if she like misinterpreted that the wrong way, or she forgot like the comment that she said when she came in, but she automatically came up and she was just like, "You don't talk to me like that."
Mm-hmm.
And I automatically knew where the conversation was going because it was just like, that's not. It seems like I got baited into something. It seems like I was unprepared for like wherever this conversation was reaching to. So she's like, "Yeah, you don't talk to me like that. You should know your place." Starts going off, and I'm like, "Excuse me, like, did you misinterpret? Did you not understand what you said to me earlier? Like, came to you as a joke." And she was going back and forth, started getting into name calling and stuff like that. We started arguing where it's just like, man, I don't think you understand this, that, and the third. Oh, no, you can't talk to me like that. Who do you think you are? That you should know your place, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm telling you, I'm taking care of this line out in front of you. And it draws the attention of my other coworkers. And now, looking back on it, not that many people of color were around me. So to them, it was a black man, raised voice, speaking to a white woman. Recipe for disaster automatically. It didn't matter where she came from. It didn't matter that she was cursing at me. It didn't matter that I didn't curse at her or call her out of her name. It mattered that I was flustered. She was visibly upset. She was yelling, and she was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Following this, one of the managers came in. He stopped the ordeal. I told him what happened, and then I ended up speaking to like one of the like co-managers, vice managers, whatever you call them, people. And he was a black man, feel me? And he just started telling me, he's like, "Hey, it's not looking good." She said she felt threatened, and it's really not the best thing for you. I'm just gonna send you home early. You know what I mean? Long story short, I get fired. Go figure. And I had to deal with the realization that I don't get the same luxury as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter. I've seen people, damn near get into fistfights at stores. I've seen clerks yell at other customers. I've seen people go off on crazy little rants or whatever to keep their jobs. But you gotta understand, as a black man, that same training that tells you don't show emotion would have came in contact or handy and just, or to some extent would have been able to tell me like, hey, you should probably back off on it because now your livelihood is in danger because of how people are going to perceive you. So that's what I mean by it's a dual-edged sword, especially for a black man. It doesn't just stop at, don't show emotion and, be heartless and just be solid and be strong. It also comes with like, be able to show restraint, be able to hold your tongue, be able to not get angry, because in those situations you will be viewed as a threat. You will be viewed as something, that's coming off aggressive. And
Hmm.
that's just my personal experience with that filming. But you can go
Well,
for it.
um, how would you like to know that I've experienced the same thing? I experienced this literally probably once. I don't even know how often, but it's too often. It's quite often that I deal with this at my actual job that I work at now.
Mm-hmm.
Literally have had conversations, running in circles, with the same conversation over and over again to like even I work for a company that is not very well liked. Um, but that's not the reason why some people come in and treat me the way they treat me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have explained this to my supervisor. Basically, always the blame being placed on me if a customer feels some kind of way. And I'm telling her, like, I could be the nicest person in the world, and a person will walk through that door and feel like they don't need to respect me at all just because of the color of my skin. And she, and I felt like she could understand that because she's biracial herself. And it went into this whole thing about, well, it's your job. I've been called names and things like that, things that are
Mm-hmm.
very inappropriate. And they're like, well, it's your job. It's not my job to be somebody's punching bag. It's not my job to just swallow the hard pill of somebody being prejudiced or racist towards me. Um, that really takes my character down, because I know like I must restrain myself, if I want to continue my income and things like that. And it's just like in the real world, these things would never happen outside of where I work, because I would be going about it totally different. Um,
Because you
and
don't have that level of vulnerability. You don't have that. It's not in the professional field. Well, hold on, I'm gonna read this
sorry, my
comment.
nose.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. It gets to the point where, as a black man, as black men or women, cannot approach or have a conversation with other races. And I agree with that to an extent. It depends, which it goes into the next point. It's when you're in a professional setting as a black man or a woman, you don't have the same advantages, like I said before, and you're kind of vulnerable in a sense. Like a black woman is one of the most vulnerable in the professional setting because you can't even wear your hair a certain way without people thinking a certain way. You can't get abrasive. You can't get aggressive. You can't have one of the days where it's just like you're not even feeling good. Not saying it's like a monthly cycle or something like that, or just some personal trauma, whatever's going on. People cannot view you as anything other than docile and probably compassionate. Because if you are, you're viewed as very aggressive. You're viewed as very, standoffish, even if you're not.
Hmm.
And we lose that kind of professional courtesy with like the slightest ability or the slightest crack in that shield. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to do it. And it sucks. It's a harsh reality, but like you said before, it's like you risk your livelihood.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can't just I can just turn it off one day and not be black and not have to worry about this. You can't.
Hmm.
It's and then it ties back into the original conversation where we were saying like how do you go about raising the next generation with that information? Feel me? How do
Education.
you education? That's another thing. So does it start at home, or is it starting when you're sending your kids off to a school that mirrors the same environment in society that you're supposed to teach them against?
It's at home. And I say that because I'm 27 and I have a lot of life experience with I remember my education as a child in school,
Mm,
and they touch base on certain things, but not everything. I wouldn't have known of uh, Martin Luther King at all.
mm,
That's if I didn't go to school for one, but if my parents at home didn't educate me about this individual or many of these other um, people from our history, but in school they don't really focus on anything positive when it comes to our history and understanding the black person and things like that. They speak about things like slavery, the negative things, things that we don't necessarily that will make us uncomfortable because um, this society wasn't set up for our
that's a
people
fact.
to succeed. It's only just everything is hard for us. It's always been that way.
You have to look at it this way: like it is going to be damn near impossible. It's like trying to bring a fat horse to water, right? And it doesn't have a craving for water; it has a craving for soda. It's never going to drink. And in this country, when you look at how they portray Black history, it's not. It's coming from this place of systemic racism, of course, and it's the oppression aspect of it. But this country does not have a good relationship with how it's treated Black people. So when they
Absolutely.
dig into their history, even when they're feeling like they're trying to do a service to Black people, it's not, because the immediate and the true history of this country does not project or portray Black people in a positive light. And it portrays white people in a very negative light because of how they've treated Black people. But they don't want to address that, and they want to keep that positive light on them and try to see if they can, whitewash history down people's throats. That's why when they talk about Black history, they won't talk past slavery, because in this country, that's where Black history starts. So it's not to say that, when I'm teaching history in the US as US history, I'm not gonna dabble in like the history of a people that we took and we enslaved before they got here, because that's none of my business. That's not my history. I could probably talk about maybe like the history of like the colonizers that came around because they came from these great nations that did a bunch of great things, because that's technically my history. That's my heritage. But what nothing incentivizes white people, and nothing incentivizes the society, the system, in talking about Black history in a positive light, because one, it's a power structure and it's a power dynamic thing. It's like the victors of history write history. They write the history books. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say that we're going to learn anything from the school for the education system. The same education system that's failing a lot of people, Black, white, Asian included, across the board. So it that much needs to be revamped. I'm not really a fan of Black History Month, because not because I don't like Black history, because it's always centered around, hey, look where you guys came from, slavery. Because like the starting point is always slavery. So anything that comes out of that looks like it's leaping miles and leaps ahead. So if you go
Hmm.
from slavery to MLK to Barack Obama, you're like, shit, from shackles to the White House. Like,
Hmm.
it's changed. Like, no. And I feel like if you really want to get into Black history, which I don't even like the term Black, but I can't really change it because it's not synonymous. Some people like to say Moor, some people like to say Israelite, some people like to say Hebrew history. It's different. So when you go into that history, African people, you have to go further past slavery, which is a history that was burnt, beaten, and buried down to the ground. It's not anything that the society or the educational aspect or the education system wants to go into, because it's too much work. Because then they have to address the fact that they did a lot to suppress that information. So when you said it does start at home, yes, it really does start at home, and it's our job as a generation that has access to more information now than more than ever, to actually sit down when we actually have kids. when we actually see a younger generation, we got to sit down like and really be on them,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna risk, producing another generation that's gonna have the same whitewashed history, the same brainwashed type of mentality when it comes to Black history and what they are and who they are in this country. Because if you leave it up to them, they'll come out of the education system thinking racism is pretty much done and dealt with. Feel me? We're in a
Mm-hmm.
new America now, and everything is great. But that's not the case. And I feel like when you say it has to come from the home, it would literally take a two-parent household. I'm not gonna hold you. It's gonna be hard for one parent to do it, because when I growing up, if my mom wasn't home, I couldn't sit down with her after school and go over, hey, this is what they told me that Christopher Columbus did this, and he didn't really do that, did he? Nope. He's a rapist, and you shouldn't celebrate him. If you
Right.
don't have that structure at home, then that the information correlated to the next generation is basically like sacrificing your child into the system on a platter, because that's who's gonna raise them. Like growing up, me personally, when mom wasn't home, like shit. If I didn't read, if I didn't watch certain things, if I didn't have conversations before, if I didn't do after school activities, and I let the system, raise me. If I let YouTube, if I let whatever I saw on TV, if I just let whatever I heard in the schools raise me, I'd be a different person. I wouldn't understand the Black struggle, because that's the detriment of not having another parent. That's the detriment of not having that structured home. So when you say it starts at home, it goes deeper into that, because you have to make sure home is good. You have to make sure home is solid. You have to make sure when one parent is not there, the other parent can tag team and be like, yo, what did you learn in school today? Let me teach you something about your history.
Um,
It didn't start with just slavery. It didn't start with just this. Yes, those people are great. They pioneered a lot for Black and African Americans in this country, but it goes deeper than that. You're reading the history from a lost war, from a sunken place. There was a time when you were great, when the people were
mm-hmm.
great, when the people were royalty, when the people were free. And I want you to know that you can strive to be that people again. And that little known fact, it has the same inspirational aspect as watching like the Black Panther movie when you were for little children. I can't say when you were a child because it just recently came out, but I remember when people were talking about the movie. Just sure, yeah, sure, it was a comic book movie, but it was like one of the few times when people actually saw a role model that was a Black man, doing something great. Because it wasn't. It was like the few times when you realize, hey, when I look at a superhero, when I look at Superman, when I look at Captain America, when I look at any one of these, great, role model superheroes, they're all white. They don't look like me. So it doesn't tell me that I can be great. It's not giving me a message that I can be that. It's just like it works in the same way as like the imagery with how they show or portray a white Jesus in churches. When I don't see divinity in my own color, I won't know that I can be that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't make myself a representation or make my color synonymous with the same values that I'm seeing. What I do is I make the color that I'm seeing synonymous with the values that I want to see. And when you talk about it being from home, you gotta have somebody there to literally chip away at that brainwashing. So every day when you send your child out into the world to learn from the system, you gotta make sure they come home. You gotta wash that shit right the fuck off and teach them the real history, teach them the real truth. And yeah, it's gonna really affect like how Black men are raised, how Black women are raised. Because you're talking about Black men, I want to know what is the societal pressure on Black women
We're like,
growing up.
I feel like we're already, it's already even harder because we're women. So, um, this country
Mm-hmm.
states that every man is equal, whatever. Every man and woman is equal. It's not true. I mean, did you watch ESPN the other day? The workout rooms, the workout
Oh,
centers, the facilities, things
yeah.
like that. It's insane. It's crazy insane. And I've been saying this for years. Like the the divide and even sports itself, like NBA, WNBA, like these women that play the same professional sport, they only get paid thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them don't even make six figures.
Mm-hmm.
That and me growing up playing basketball my whole life, I never wanted to do that, and I always knew there was a reason why, but it wasn't that. But I also know, like, being treated less than, that's one thing that, I mean, black men deal with that too, but um we can't, some people don't want us to, they don't want to give us the credit as to like that we're intelligent or smart or we're innovative or any good qualities that a man might carry. um I've felt that way in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with an individual that made me feel like I wasn't equal to him because I was a woman. um and I even said something a few times, and it was just along the lines of like, sorry, my nose, I am not sick. My nose, that weather is changing
Completely fine.
crazy.
Allergy season's blowing up anyway.
Um, I even told him, like, why do you constantly say these things? Like, he would say, oh, I don't know why you saying, like, oh, you don't need to talk like that. You not a man or whatever. And it's just like, I'm not carrying like nigga ways. Like, I am who I am. Like, if a woman is outspoken, she's doing too much, or, she shares her feelings, she's emotional. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, there's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of things associated with women, and it places stigma on us. And then being black is the other part. I've had people be flat out just ignorant towards me just because they see who I am or whatever, and it's really hard. Um, this job that I'm at now is the first time I ever had a real reality check of, like, this is the reality of the work world and how they treat people like me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's not like that I want to accept it. You all got to make a living and stuff like that, but also you got to play their game. Um, but some people are like, you can't talk like this, you can't talk like that. And I experienced that. I lived in Atlanta the past 4 years. It's the black mecca of the world. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many different people out there that look like you, look like me. Um, and I felt most like myself there, even at work. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to, I could talk about certain things that, like, you can't necessarily talk about with people with other races. They can't relate. Like, when this whole, I mean, Black Lives Matter has been going on for a long time. But when all these things happened last year, I remember even my coworkers speaking about it, and I'm just like cutting conversation, rolling my eyes because I'm like, can't relate, can't relate. You definitely can't relate. And the person closest to me, relatable, happens to be a coworker of mine. She is not black, but she is a minority
Mm-hmm.
herself. She's Jewish, and they are a big minority in this country, if you didn't know that. And, she sees things kind of out of the same eyes as mine.
Now, I'd say they're a very powerful minority. Um, when it comes to Jewish people, they stick together, they bond together, and they're very much inclusive within their own community, within their own neighborhoods. So, looking at Jewish history, the Holocaust was terrible. A lot of persecution, a lot of discrimination. So that is understandable. There's a few talking points from that. Okay, so back to, let's say, the relationship.
How it
Why do you
ties
think it
into
was
that.
comfortable? Why do you think he was comfortable? What drove your ex in that situation to say those things, to feel comfortable, to feel like he had to, voice an opinion out there? Why would he have that mentality? Why would he have that mindset to say such things?
I really honestly believe that came from the people that raised him. Because when I met him, I remember one of our first initial arguments was over dishes, and he had this mindset, and he had verbally said that his aunt had told him that men don't wash the dishes, or it was something wild. He definitely was that. And also he was like, they don't clean or whatever, that's a woman's job. I was like, well, your aunt got the game fucked up. That's what I told him. I told him straight up, like, I was like, I never in my life have heard of, I don't believe in gender roles. That's a gender role thing. And then on top of that, that's kind of putting these thoughts in his head that he has to carry the relationship in another way, but I have to be that stay at home wife kind of thing. And
All right, so let's address that. All right, check this out.
oh,
How much money did he make? Did he make a lot of money? 6 figures.
who?
Your ex.
Oh, we didn't talk about finances, but he make good. He make money. He make good
Six
money.
figures?
I don't know.
If it's not above 6 figures, he's not really making too much money.
Never really asked. He's an electrician. He works for a union. You know.
And that's closer to 6 figures. I'm guessing around like $70,000-$80,000 a year. All right, closer to. Feel me? So let's get one thing out of the way. Feel me? As a man, if you're gonna actively have that type of mentality, you can't have a partner that doesn't agree with it. Feel me? I'm not gonna tell people, what's right or wrong, because I personally don't feel that same way. Feel me? But I know if you're gonna have that type of mentality, you gotta have, your shit in order. You got to have your
Mm-hmm.
finances in order. If you want a woman to sit down and, mind her place or whatever you think that is, feel me? You got to make sure that every last want and need on her end is catered to. Like, he's paying damn near top dollar everything, feel me? Hair, nails, done every week, feel me? Whatever money you need to have in your pocket, boom. Because that's the type of provision that you have to have for a black independent woman to be like, I'm a yield and do this. And I feel like
Right.
dishes is petty as fuck, feel me? Because that's how I know he didn't come from a cultured household when it comes to, like, immigrant culture. Because I know my Caribbeans, I know my Africans, you wash some damn dishes. You don't leave no damn dishes in the sink.
Right.
It didn't matter who the fuck you were. You sat your ass at the sink, you rolled up your damn sleeve, whatever lotion you had on your hands is going to be dry as fuck after, feel me? And you wash your dishes and make sure you fall asleep with no dishes in the sink. So something like that is just, that's a mentality thing, feel me? That's poor parenting. That's poor conditioning, feel me? Like,
Well, I
as a,
later on learned that.
yeah.
I later on learned that, like I told you, I had some encounters with his mom. Like some were good, some were not so great,
Mm-hmm.
and then some were just plain like, well, now I've been trying to add this and this, but I didn't know what it equaled up to, and now I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Like even down to like, I remember being in arguments with him, and he would not. He would call me out of my name, and I remember him calling his mother and referring to me as a bitch, and she didn't say anything, and I'm just like, bro, like, as a woman, like, you shouldn't even be allowing him to speak about another woman in that manner, especially as a mother and as a woman. And it was kind of like, I'm sick by my son kind of thing, but it's like, you should know what's right and what's wrong. And like, talking to somebody the way that he talked to me was just distasteful, and she never stepped in or anything like that. It was wild. And then I'm just like, she was also a single mother, so I'm like, okay, somebody's bitter um about how the way they got treated, maybe, or maybe the way they seen somebody else get treated, so they feel like the way they treat women is okay because somebody probably displayed the same behavior on
I
his
think it's a
mother.
mixture of that, and also from a single mother's perspective. If I know sometimes with my own mother, like back in the day, we would fall into the mentality of understanding that as a woman, a part of you feels like you don't need to be doing what you're doing as a single mother. You don't need to. Part of you feels like, I don't want to be the provider. I don't want to be the sole breadwinner because it's a tough world. It's a hard working world. You know what I mean? But you have to do it because that's the reality that you're in. So I think in her situation was that she was looking for a man to take that role and being completely fine with falling into the submissive role. And she was bitter because that she couldn't get that role later into her life. that she had to continue being a single mother, she had to continue being a provider, she had to continue, bearing the brunt of the world, when she would easily trade it in for a different lifestyle and a different mentality. And she
Mm-hmm.
raised her son to be that strong man to
Take care of
take
the
care of
household.
things,
Yep.
so that a woman wouldn't have to be in a position to do that. Because you got to understand, as a black woman, if you're not making too much money, if you have a child, there's a lot of things working against you in the professional world that no other person has to deal with. Feel me? On top
Mm-hmm.
of your race baiting stuff that we've talked about, on top of the discrimination, and talk about how you have to carry yourself, you now have a whole human being that you have to somehow figure out a way to raise behind. And if your finances are not in order, if life is looking crazy, it's going to be even more harder. So you're gonna take all that stress, and that's the thing that people in the black community understand. You can't let stress get to you and then raise your child, because that's a recipe for disaster. It's like me dipping a good sponge in some dirty water and scrubbing
Mm-hmm.
a clean dish.
Yep.
All you're gonna do is pollute it. All you're gonna do is rub off the wrong grease and mess onto it. Feel me? So if I'm taking all this stress from the outside world and I want to put it into my parenting, subconsciously, of course, because some people don't realize what they're doing, this is
Mm-hmm.
what it comes out to be. It comes out to be a man that he's very traditional, and this is from an African saying this. That's very traditional. Feel me? Arguing about dishes and shit like that. So, and that's the problem. Feel me? So when we talk about why black men or some black men like this, especially in relationships, it's parenting. It's also societal pressures. It's the result of a bunch of different things, and it takes a certain feedback. It takes a certain interception in the process to interrupt that. For him, it probably is too late, because people believe that as you're in your 20s,
He's 34.
30, God,
God
wow,
damn it.
no kids.
He don't got no. He thinks he's a winner because he's 34, no kids. He got a job. He got all the regular things. Yeah.
Okay, I'm probably gonna sound like the dude that's been flaming women back on the internet. I don't know his name, but he's just been dogging females on the internet. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of not. As a man, as you get older, I'm gonna tell you something. This is the man's mentality. Feel me? If you don't have kids, you got a great job, you're making money, and you live by yourself, you're doing pretty great. Not gonna hold you, but that's a single man's mentality. Feel me? Because you don't understand, as a man, if you can maintain your aura, your looks, your body, whatever, on top of your finances, on top of being independent, then you check all or most of the boxes that most females are looking for. Women, let me say women, because I've been chewed up for saying females before. So
But most of the people his age is the opposite. They have kids. They probably don't got a job. They living on assistance. All these things. Even his friends, down to his friends. All his friends have kids, and blah blah blah. All etc. etc. Um, but also some of his years were taken from him because I ain't trying to tell all his damn business, but he is he went to he did time, you know what I'm saying? Um, Nothing too wild, but that was new for me. But also I think it made him like institutionalized
mm.
as well. Um, because when I first got with him, there was like this certain things. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, he's not in jail. Like, you do not need to be doing that. Like, um,
I think
just breaking bad habits and things like
I think
that.
you got the absolute worst end of the deal. Outside of,
Me,
like, yeah, I think you got the. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, because I do this with a lot of my women and friends. I say female friends. Can I not say female friends if I say females? Like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna move past
I,
that. All right,
yeah,
but all right. So yeah, a lot of the girls that I know, feel me, when I give them, like, different advice or what a man might think, or what, like, whatever's going on, feel me, I'm gonna call them out on their bullshit. I'm not gonna hold you, because I don't know why women do this to themselves. I think you guys like to build on, like, the worst projects. Feel me? You guys like to buy, like, that fixer-upper piece of property and just, renovate the whole shit, feel me? Make it into like a 6-story flat and just have people just look at it like, ta-da, I did that. Like, and the problem is, most of these men, it's too late. Especially if you're dealing with a man that doesn't find whatever he's doing or how he's perceiving himself or how he's operating incorrect. If you like, you gotta understand, like, the time to change somebody has passed us,
I
and
never wanted to change him.
nope. I feel like now looking back on it, you wouldn't even be with a person like that.
No,
Meaning,
I wouldn't. And that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want to say I lowered my standards, but I definitely, was very open-minded.
mm-hmm,
I actually didn't know for like the first like month or so, and then it was just really weird. Like, you can't be here between these hours. I'm like, what? Hold on. What is going on? What did you do, first of all? So we can nip that in the bud. But like, that all tied into, and that tied into the way that our relationship developed too. That was a major piece. Also, carrying the characteristics of a narcissist. If you're dealing with a person like that, it's just always going to be too late, because
mm-hmm,
they have in their minds made up that whatever they're doing is okay.
mm-hmm.
Um, how they're going about things are okay. There are so many things, like,
I'm gonna tell you
tumultuous
straight
is
up,
not the word.
you lowered your standards. All right,
Mhm.
you can do better than a 30-something-year-old ex-con that has a traditionalist mindset. Feel me? As a person that you're showing yourself to be, you would need somebody who's more open-minded. You can't just walk into a situation and be the only open-minded person. Feel me? Especially if you're dealing with somebody who's narcissistic, because they're just gonna feed on that and be like, okay, this is somebody that I can manipulate, keep around,
Yes,
just keep
and that's
content.
exactly that's exactly what it was. Manipulation, pretty much through and through. And it brought me down to just feeling like an awful person. I lost a lot of weight. I didn't even realize how much I was stressed, that it was
Mm-hmm.
um affecting me physically. I deal with like some depression, and that didn't help. And it's just like, you tell somebody everything about you as an individual, and it's like they put in their back pocket, like, I can add on to this later, in the same
When you're
way.
dealing with a manipulator, and when you tell them everything about yourself, it's like basically giving them a guidebook on how to, manipulate you. Like, they're learning exactly how to manipulate you. Because, like I said before, you're getting to a stage where people won't change. I mean, people are not in the mentality to change. A lot of people won't change. It's very rare that you'll meet somebody that is open to change, that is open to bettering themselves. Feel me? That's why I feel like women do this thing to themselves, where it's just like, I'm trying to change this person, or I'm trying to add on a little bit to their personality. I'm trying to tweak this just a little bit, just so like he can be the ideal person for me. And you gotta understand, that's a dangerous game to play as you get older, because just the same way as you are looking for the person that you want to be with for years to come, and you've been thinking about this for some time, there's a person that's been raising himself a certain way and is content with being that way for years to come. So when those two ideologies clash, it makes it harder for you, because it's not going to be harder for him, because he's going to feel unwavering. He's going to feel just like, I'm going to be me. And if she doesn't accept this, then I'm going to continue to be me until she does.
But
You're
there's
going to make
other
it
factors too.
definitely.
History, your past experience with dating and stuff too. Like his past, um white women. Um no, for real,
uh,
like I'm not talking like decent. I'm not even talking decent
uh,
people. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's a certain, and I had an argument with him about this. I'm like, you think you can speak and talk to me and treat me the way that you treat them other women, that I'm not them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where the clashing happened, because he can see I'm this person. I'm not dealing with that shit. And then this also ties into something I've seen throughout the years of why black men don't date black women because it's too difficult, to this, to that. And it's just like, no, you're just not ready for no challenge. You're not ready for nobody to challenge you because you want to be the man and all this other shit. And it's just like,
Okay, let's even focus on that right there. As a black man, I differ from the statistics, of course. I only date black women, so I don't. You're not gonna catch me with no snow bunny. Sorry, it's just not gonna happen because it's not saying that they're not attractive or whatever. It's just culturally speaking, you're not going to understand me the most.
right,
Not like a black not like a black woman would. And I feel like, as a black man, as black people, we are obligated to be equally yoked with each other, especially in a day and age where we have to understand that it is tough being black. It is tough being a person of color. I feel like you, as a black man, as a black individual, if you're saying that, hey, I love black, everything black, then you should be making black children. And if you're not, then that goes into a mentality issue of you not seeing beauty in your own skin. You not seeing beauty in your own mother. Like, and it goes deeper than that. It's a very much a psychological thing. And I remember I watched like a podcast with Nick Cannon and brother is Risa Islam, feel me? And Nick Cannon was trying to defend the idea of like lusting after white women and everything like that. He was a little bit of a coon in that interview, and I lost kind of a lot of respect for him.
that's a
But
fact.
he was saying like it's more of like a mentality of like it's something we couldn't have before, and now we want it. And I'm just like, that's kind of a child's mentality. Like somebody kept the toy away from you, and now you want to take it because you have the means and the wherewithal. Like a lot of successful black men like to, the second they get success, the second they get a little bit of cash, whether it's a nice, great paying job of six figures and making millions, they run straight to white women, and they don't realize that the detriment of doing that the consequences of doing that is like you're one taking wealth and equity away from the black community because you're not putting it back into the black woman to then make black children to then keep and create a black community. No, you're putting it into the white woman to make mixed race kids, which are technically black in that sense, but you're not going to raise them the same way as you would completely Nubian brown ebony
And
children.
they're worse than I think that they're worse. Maybe that's just, maybe I have a biased opinion on that because he has told me about his past with the the women from his past. I'm not gonna tell his business, but they done did some low down foul tasty shit that if it was if it was if that was the black woman, or that had been the other way around, like, we go about things totally different. And I told him, like, I'm like, you talk like that because these other women would sit there and let you talk like that. I'm not gonna let you talk to me like that. It's like, oh no, they would say. I'm like, no, they wouldn't.
No,
They
because they
really
don't
would.
have the same level of respect. It's just even, it's almost subconsciously like the white woman will not respect the black man the same way the black woman would respect the black man, and it's supposed to be that same way, vice versa. The black man is supposed to respect the black woman the same way,
That falls
but
into submission too. Somebody left a comment on that.
that I'm telling you, like when you realize it's really much a psychological thing, feel me, and especially understanding that he did time, he probably does not like the system, feels like this is like payback I get with a white woman, feel me, like do whatever, da, da, da. Like nah, that's all that conditioning, feel me, because if he really cared, if he really understood, if he really was pro and for black people, he would know one how to treat a black woman, a black queen, because he wouldn't be looking at you as anything less than. And even understanding that, as a black king, you want some level of submission, but understand that the queens also wear a crown. Queens also hold a title. Queens also have a position. Queens are kingmakers in the sense that they make you a better king and produce princes to then become kings. So when you don't have that mentality of royalty, it echoes in your activity, and it echoes in your actions. It echoes in how you treat other people. Because if I don't see myself with a crown, how am I gonna look at the black woman and see a crown over her head?
Right.
Now that's why I feel like you know in that situation you kind of settled, feel me, and you deserved a little bit better when it comes to that situation because especially if you're coming from ATL, where there's a plethora of black men, probably a lot of gay black men, but
Very much gay, but I'm from New
yeah.
York, so my gaydar is on.
So,
Anyway.
but yeah, I feel like you missed out on that, but in the sense that you probably just wanted a black man. You probably wanted, a man of color to be a certain way, and the one that you got was not it. Feel me? I'm not gonna hold it. Hold on, I'm seeing some comments I probably should start responding to. Black men fail to submit due to not understanding women's worth, not seeing their value. That is true. They see higher value in Caucasian women, which is why you would see men submit to the white woman more than they see them in a higher
That's
power.
totally false. I'm gonna say that's totally false.
All right, let's hear
Okay,
it.
that comment that was made that about value, that is false. I wouldn't say value. I think that is a misplaced word. I
Mm-hmm.
would say more than anything, um, they see better advantages
In having them,
in
yes,
having
okay.
them because of the certain way that they will like versus me versus let's see Barbie. I don't know. Barbie's not going to talk back. Barbie's going to do whatever you tell her to do. She's not going to
Mm-hmm.
care if you step out on her. She's going to stay there. Stuff like that. And I don't see, and I know that there's definitely black women that do the same thing too. It's really about your own personal self and
Mm-hmm.
your morals and your values. Me, I'm not with no extra, no lies, none of that stuff. Like I remember day one I told, and I'm a firm believer in this. If you lie to somebody and you're trying to date somebody and you're building stuff up on lies, whether you're leaving things out that they should know or not being truthful about things, it's gonna fail every time. It doesn't matter if you have a good week with them or the next week
Mm-hmm.
something is gonna crash and fail because what kind of relationship is successful that's built on lies? I feel like that's I've always had that in my mind. I don't want anything built on lies, and you can't have anything good out of that, um,
So you
at
felt
all.
like he started a relationship with you off of lies and
Things that I found out later that I should have been told from day one.
mm,
Literally things that would are deal breakers.
okay.
I
So
that I would rather not speak on, but deal breakers, like just straight up like things that are just like jaw dropping, like what the hell, like why didn't you say this day one, or finding things out throughout the relationship, like even
okay.
myself.
So moving forward, right?
Mhm.
After experiencing toxic prison X, I was going to label him that toxic prison X. Feel me?
Prison Bay.
What toxic prison Bay? All right, they say I thought of that, but I was just like, I don't know how it come off if I call like your ex prison Bay. It just it didn't seem right. But toxic prison X or Bay, whichever one you prefer. Um, moving forward, how will you now list and label your red flags? Like, feel me? So me looking at it personally, one red flag is you dated white women. If I like me looking at a black woman right now, if she tells me, yeah, I've dated about like 6, 7, white men, I'm like, this probably ain't gonna work out because I
I'm
don't.
not gonna lie, my first boyfriend, I wouldn't say it was probably shouldn't even consider him my boyfriend. I never slept with him or nothing.
Mhm.
He was white, and I just knew it
I
wasn't
think
right.
everybody gets
And
one.
I knew, I like when it was getting to that point of like I knew like he wanted to take things to the next step of like sleeping together.
Mhm.
I was like, I can't fuck this man. Like, I can't fuck no white penis. I gotta. How do I get out of this situation? And also,
Oh,
I was still in high school, and I wasn't on that type of time. Um, so he we went our own ways, and I mean, I was okay with it because I was just like, I know this isn't for me.
mm.
So, um, I just feel like I feel like a somebody who will date just anybody, they don't got no kind of standards. I'm sorry. There's no way in the world, like, you know that
So that's the
meme.
first
It's
red
like I
flag.
seen his ex, they ain't no way that we both his type shit. Like there ain't no way. Like, you know, also I'd say the
Well,
red
give him some
flag.
credit. He was in prison.
He
So
huh?
if you ain't seen no Cuddy in a while, you get out, and the
So
only
he didn't just
person.
straight come home and I got with him. It wasn't that type of party. Like he had been out for a while.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
he had
saying.
been
So
out for a
if he
couple
was out for a
years.
while, feel me, and he was only experiencing a certain type of woman that would, honestly, this is gonna come off wrong. This is my podcast. I'm gonna say it. White women are very easy. Like, like when I got to college and I was seeing how they were giving it up, like easy, son. And I used to know dudes who used to be like, "Yo, bro, I'm getting this Cuddy, I'm getting this Cuddy from who? Oh yeah, Susie and Jessica over there. That's not impressive.
Right.
You can get that with one blunt and like Jägermeisters, bro. Like that's not impressive. Like they carry themselves a certain like to a certain standard. It's very much lower. Feel me? And they're infatuated with black men. Feel me? Like
Infatuated. There's a white girl that I have had to curse out through and through. Even when we broke up, still had to curse her out because it's like um I felt like I'm like, okay, this is obsessive because
mm,
like I remember at one point like I had got on Instagram and we never really had no arguments about things on social media until he started doing stupid shit. And I had seen this girl, so I went on her page and I seen a picture and she quoted, I seen his name and I was like, hold on. Had to read the caption. And it was he's not no I don't mean to kill his dreams or anything, but he's not like a big rapper or anything, but she it seemed too personal. Like she quoted the lyrics to his song on her
mm,
picture. It seemed too personal.
like she had to
And,
be in a few studio sessions.
like, and then just lo and behold, um, and I knew my intuition was right because I was like, you need to, because he commented on it, and that's how I seen it. And I was like, don't be leaving no hearts. He was like, oh, I can't say thank you to a fan. I said the bitch is not a fan. She's obsessed with you. Furthermore, um, she just kept popping up and stuff, and I'm like, bro, I don't care if she don't live here. The fact of the matter is, like, she don't give a fuck. She don't got no standards. If she know you with somebody and she's still trying to step, obviously she don't care.
It's a
And
fact.
you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what is it about? Um, and I'm, you know what I'm saying? I guess love wins at the end of the day, whatever. To each his own on that. Me
Mm-hmm.
preferably, I don't think like I think we should date people that are us because at the end of the day, like, how are you gonna? No matter how much you explain your culture, how you grew up, things like that, never will relate. I remember my friend, I had met this girl that he was hanging out with, and she was kind of young, and it was this white girl, and he's like this 30-something-year-old black guy, and he's like a brother to me. So I let him know like this is not a good look. Like you don't even know Shorty, you don't know where she's from, whatever. I only met her one time, and then the second time they were to come over to my house, and we were gonna have dinner here because I cooked for them. She ended up coming by herself, and he was gonna meet her here. And I was texting him like, "Where are you?" Like, cause I don't know her from Adam and Eve, whatever. But now I was like, you know what? Let me give her a chance, whatever. Because I don't really have friends like that. It would be cool to see what she's about. She's being all fragile and shit. So I was like, you could loosen up, take a couple shots. Don't know how much of a good idea that was because I was making TikToks and she was on the phone and all I heard was something something nigga and I was like, okay, I didn't hear that right. So I kept listening and she said it again, and I had to let her know off rip. I'm like, you cannot say that. Not in this household. You can't say that here. And she's like, she wanted this full explanation of how she wasn't raised by white people, so she felt like it was okay because she was raised by a certain group of people for her to say these things. Other
I
night,
I
I said,
blame two people for that. Feel me? One, I blame the black dudes that be messing with these white girls. Feel me?
yes,
One, and then I gotta blame the white girls themselves because okay, let's say you're white. let's say not even white girls, white people from. Let's say you're white, right? And you're around people that you're around people of color. Feel me? You grow up, niggas is throwing nigga around, calling you nigga, making fun of you for not saying nigga, or letting you say nigga. You gotta understand that your black pass only works with the niggas that you know. So when you come around new niggas as a white person, you better be straight up on some, high power type shit, feel me? Until they sanction you, feel me? Because you're not sanctioned with every black person, feel me?
Like Cat
That's
Williams said, he said that. He said, white people do not say the N word. You just because your friend said it to you does not mean that you say it to them. Do not say that word. Like,
oh,
and people
I'm
find it
saying it's even
acceptable.
past that. It's like if your friends say it to you and they're cool within your circle, go ahead. I can't tell black people who they can't and cannot give the nigga pass to. I remember when I was in the army, I gave the nigga pass to one of my friends, Beerman. Shout out Beerman. I'm not gonna hold you. That man for the culture. I'm not even gonna hold you. Feel me? He won like 3 Black Jeopardy rounds. Questions I made up myself that I was just like, you really have no business knowing. And he was cool as fuck. Feel me? I told Beerman if he runs into any situation, he could call me on FaceTime, and I'll look the black people in the eye like, yeah, he's good. He's sanctioned, feel me? Because that's what you have to do. That nigga pass is cool around me, but that he's not like, on some, nigga type shit. It's like, I'll be like, yo, say it, bro. Just go ahead and say it. Like, but nah, it's like if you're a white person, you're not sanctioned everywhere when you get that N-word pass, when you get that black pass from me. You're sanctioned around your group. When you get to new black folk, you gotta understand they don't know you, they don't give a fuck, and you're just another white
I
person.
blame the black man for any white person or any person of another race who adapts or takes not even adapts, just takes anything from the black woman. I'm talking hairstyles, I'm talking body,
Mm.
I'm talking all that. I'm talking all of that.
I
Because
mean, that's pop culture right there. Have you seen the
I'm just
Kardashians?
saying, being thick was never a thing in the 90s. You got to be no
You had
hips,
to be
no
slim.
ass,
Mm-hmm.
100 pounds, America's Next Top Model, looking like that. And because it's only been acceptable, and I'm gonna say that it was this person that caused this was Kim Kardashian, because and it's not in a good way because it's enabled these people to feel like they want the hips and stuff, and it's like that didn't even derive from y'all. That came from
Mm-hmm.
us. And then the
They have to go get
hairstyles and stuff.
surgery for
I
that.
can't stand what's this girl's name? Oh my God, this girl is some celebrity girl. It's not the Cash Me Outside girl, it's the other girl.
Iggy
Um
Azalea?
no, no,
No.
no. It's a white girl. Um
Danielle Bergarli?
she looked like a Toy Story doll.
Bad Baby?
Not Bad Baby, the other girl. What is this girl's name?
You just
Man,
throwing out.
I was on her Instagram page. She just like I cannot wait to find her name. She she has dang, why do I not know her name? I had her on my story
Wait, it's
the
the white
other
girl that's
day.
identifying as black?
Yeah, so she gets like okay, white people wear tracks, they wear wigs too. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a certain way that you go about it. I cannot stand, I think this is one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing a white person with baby hair slicked down. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it because I know for a fact that that is not something that is something a part of their culture. That is for people of color. I'm not even gonna say black people because
Okay,
Spanish people do it.
so check this out. Don't you think that okay? That's a portion of cultural appropriation, all right? And when you say stuff like that, white people then come back and say, "What about you guys wearing wigs and here that's not yours and
My
stuff
coworker
like that?"
said that to me. I had to shut him down.
How do you respond to that?
To those kind of comments, well, when I had that conversation with my coworker, I told him, I'm like, who is to say that we can't wear blonde hair? I said, there's black people with blonde hair. I said, white people wear tracks, they wear wigs too. That's not culture appropriation because we're not trying to mimic you. We're trying to have a style in our own way, in our own way. We're not trying to mimic the white woman. We're not getting, there are celebrities and people that get Botox and all that stuff done Um, but I've
Okay,
never.
let's try to keep it to here because that's one thing. So I get what you're saying with style and everything, right? But on the same breath, white people can then use that same argument. So to combat that, you're better off saying that I wear wigs and I keep my hair like this for protective reasonings. Feel me? Because there's not too many protective styles outside of the ones that can keep my hair a certain way. And also, I know that black hair, let's say you have 4C or whatever type of hair you have, feel me? It is very hard to maintain. So it's not all the time that I have like, the time nor the luxury to deal with my natural hair. But in the same breath, if you say that it's just, bless you, if you
Thank
say that it's in the same breath, it's just about, style and whatever, then you're going to understand that you as a black woman, when you do your hair with a certain style. So when a white woman or white appropriators see that, they take the face off of it and they just take the
you.
hairstyle off and then they take it. Bless you again.
Well,
So,
I educated my coworker on that piece too. I didn't leave it at just that, because there'd be confusion about my hair sometimes. So, I modified it for him to understand. The other people at my job understood what it was, when it comes down to hair and stuff like that. Um, but like I even like told him, like, one day I came in, he's like, "Is that your hair or is that a wig?" I'm like, "This is my hair. This is a wig. How did you, this is how you do this. This is how you do that." Just, and I know it's just like, it might be them laughing. He might be secretly laughing about it, but I know I'm educating them. I used to be offended about being mocked and things like that by other cultures, but we should be happy, I guess. Not even happy. It's kind of distasteful, but it's also like, y'all hate us so much, but you want to be exactly like us. The
mm,
big lips and everything like that. That's definitely all us.
you gotta understand, it's an infatuation and it's a toxic relationship that only benefits one side.
What is
When
this
it comes to
girl's
stuff like
name?
that, it's they really do love us. I'm not gonna hold you, but the way they show love is just twisted and fucked up in so many different ways, and it's not something that we're supposed to accept. Now, with that being said, it's just
Whoa,
what you
Vicky.
did was the best option. You have to educate because a lot of the times it comes from a place of ignorance. It comes from a
Uh-huh.
place of misunderstanding. Feel me? So if you don't educate and you let them, live in their own echo chambers and their own circles, they're never gonna actually grow out of that. Oh, that chick.
This this girl, this girl, she culture appropriates almost every time she. I don't care where she's from. Okay, her accent's thick because she's from down south.
Mm.
However, I know that she's trying a little too hard. First of all, I've never seen a white person with shit. I'm trying to zoom in. The baby hairs, this, and then she wears like darker foundation. That's really troubling to me because it's like, come
Oh
on, like,
yeah, I think there's a
that's
word for
not a
that.
good look,
I
huh?
think there's a word for that. I think it's called blackfishing. I think
Yeah,
yeah, that's the word. A
I've
lot
seen
of
a, yep,
yeah.
blackfishing. I even seen a video last week. It was extremely disturbing. I don't know how real the face was, but it was,
Oh, the little
yes.
singing contest thing that they did. Yeah.
And they
So
put a
yeah,
black
that
woman's
face that you
face.
saw, yeah, it came from a singing competition. I think it was like a South African singing competition or something like that, where she was like, it's like it's I forgot the name of it. It's like iconic African song right now that's playing in different like countries. I forgot the name of it, but she was on a singing competition and she went full on black mask face to
Yes.
sing that song. The performance wasn't that bad. Feel me? She didn't do it too bad. Feel me? Like, for the
Hmm.
live performance of the song. But it was just like, what prompted you to put on a black mask face to go out there and emulate the song? Why couldn't you just emulate that song with your own respects to culture? And that's the thing. It's like they get a kick out of trying to be us. They get a kick out of, watching us. They get a kick out of taking from us. They get a kick out of, pop culture, rap culture, all that. That's why I'm a big purveyor of we gotta be careful what we put out there, because if you want more respect, if you're putting something out there that's gonna eventually be imitated and emulated, you want that to be something at least decent. Because if all they're gonna emulate and imitate is big lips, fat ass, and twerking and shit like that, then that's all they're seeing from you. And they're gonna joke around with that because they know I can play that for like 5 seconds or 5 minutes in a day and then go right back to being white. Feel me? Because it's not a reality for them. Feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's important just to as much as it's annoying, we can combat it, we can cancel it, we can just don't even give it attention. Feel me? We got to make sure that the image that we're producing and we're putting out there is a strong enough hold and it's a good enough image that even when they try to emulate it, it's just like paying my respects.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, what they're emulating is, I'm gonna get a big fat nice chain, feel me? I'm gonna get these big, strong cheekbones and fat ass and big lips, and I'm gonna be like, that's black, and that's really not black, feel me? Sure, like there's certain features, yeah, but it comes with beauty. It comes with some level of fucking regulation. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
people understand that, but it is getting a little bit later. I'm gonna have to cut this one short because I do have another episode I gotta do at like 10 o'clock, so I gotta get prepared for that. Gotta eat and
Mm-hmm.
everything like that. It's been actually a pleasure talking to you about from Prison Bay to and from ex Prison Bay to
Yes.
to
Have you on the X?
just being in the workplace as a professional, as a black woman or as a black man, even talking about black fishing and stuff like that. I've enjoyed this conversation. I feel like you need to stick by your red flags. I understand that you're 27, you're probably looking for somebody, feel me, just to fit that mold and description. And I'm saying that I don't really know where a black woman can find the ideal black man. I'm not gonna hold you.
I think I know this sounds crazy as hell, but you asked me a question I didn't get to fully answer it. I'm gonna let you go, but
Mhm.
um, I don't want to say what red flags, but what I did learn, and what I have learned from that time, because it's been a while. Don't ignore the signs of things.
Mhm.
I like 1,000 red flags were thrown up, and I kind of ignored all of them because I was allowing the love I had for this person and how much I liked them um, overplay the other things that were happening. Also, I feel like if someone continuously comes into your life, you need to find out that purpose of why they keep coming into your life. Um, and I'm not saying in a negative way. And I say that to say this, because that's kind of what's happened with me over, I'd say, the past, what, 2000 and the past 5 years. An individual, I never actually dated this person, but there was chemistry there. We just, bad timing and things like that happened. Um, but
Some of you giving this man a shot now.
continuously this continuously pops
He
into
better be
my
getting
life.
a shot.
I tried to give him a shot earlier um this year, and he kind of blew it. But when I think when earlier when you were talking, it light bulb went off. Like fireworks just went through my whole body. You said something along the lines of basically crowning
Mhm.
and a black man with a crown. Now, this individual, I don't know, they're trying to be a smooth operator, but I know this person is they've always been very gentle and genuine with me. Um, I didn't know the effect I had on this individual until yesterday when they had told me that I make them better. I make them better in different aspects. And I'm like, how could I have done that? Because I haven't really done anything. So obviously, I have a holdover on this person.
Mhm.
And we're trying to figure that out,
I'm gonna give you some advice on that, feel me? Because that ties into like you as a woman, you like coming into a situation and having some effect, some level of change on a man, right? If a man is actively telling you, one, he's gentle, one, he cares, he hears you out, he sees you with a crown, he sees you as some type of legality, he has respect for you. You can look into like the relationships he has with the females in his life when it comes to his mother, when it comes to his sisters, when it comes to people like that in his life. Look into those relationships and look at how he treats those women in his life. One. Two, when he's telling you that, you're doing these things for him to then better motivate and better prepare himself for the future, that is an accomplishment by itself, because that is somebody who's willing, he's open-minded, and he's willing to change, and he's willing to better himself and be something
And he
better.
said that too. That was the first thing that he said. He said that he knew he messed up, but he was willing to take those steps to um, fix whatever mistake he had made. It wasn't anything super major or detrimental, but it was kind of disappointing because I didn't expect that from that person. But
Keep on the record.
words, the words are hitting. They hit me pretty hard yesterday because even like I went from this relationship where this person stopped caring about my feelings and wouldn't even ask me or try to understand my feelings. Understanding someone's feelings is also being an active listener and not just having a rebuttal as soon as they're done talking. So this individual yesterday told me like they see they could see my pictures and stuff sometimes, and also wondering how I'm doing. And because we weren't speaking, it hurt him to not be able to know how I felt. And that like hit me kind of deep because it's just like I never knew anybody cared enough to even
Sounds
want to
like you
ask. But on
serious.
top of that, to actually be kind of upset that they couldn't talk to me or
Mm-hmm.
couldn't understand what I was feeling. And those are things that I have honestly never, ever, ever been told ever. So it's kind of like uh not a game changer, but it's just different. And it's weird because me and this person have only interacted a few times, and we've never. A lot of times, feelings can be brought in with um, intimacy. We've never been intimate ever,
Mm-hmm.
and this person has this strong feeling about me, and so I'll keep you posted on that.
Please do. I'm rooting for this man. If he checked out this video, we
No,
are rooting for you, because you got to be better than ex prison bay, and just
yeah,
keep a tool or something, because you never know these crazy exes. If he tries anything, let us know. But we're rooting for you, bro. Like, real talk, we're rooting for you. And in your situation, you got to understand that there are. Is he black man?
yes, he is.
All right. Sounds like he's doing his job, and sounds like he's trying to right this wrong and correct this ship. Not everybody's perfect. I get that, feel me? But effort is something that is highly motivational. It's highly attractive. On my end, it's attractive. I can tell when somebody's doing something for me and doing something in spite of me, feel me? Effort plays a huge role. So if you see somebody at least caring enough to actively engage in some type of effort to speak their mind, to tell you exactly how they feel, to correlate, to hear you out, to tell you your place in their life without even you have to say anything, feel me? Somebody might want to, revisit, give a second chance to, feel me? Not gonna hold you. Not gonna say he's perfect. He's like, Romeo or some shit, feel me? But
That was a red flag though for me,
mm-hmm.
giving somebody that you've already given a chance to another chance because they might disappoint you worse than they did the first time. But for some reason, like, kind of just particularly for him, like,
Mm-hmm.
I would be open to giving that opportunity to this particular person only because I know how this person is. I know that,
I think people miss out one thing when it comes to like relationships, and I'm gonna cut this off around 9:30. Feel me? Because I got into like this nice little point at the end, so 4 minutes. All right. So people miss out on the opportunity of understanding and learning the person that you're with.
yes,
That is foremost the most important thing, because I realized, me personally, I got trust issues out the wahoo. Feel me? But mainly, I realized it came from me not knowing who the other person was.
in
You know.
all aspects. You gotta know someone from all angles angry, mad, sad, happy, everything. And I learned that, and that was my mistake too. And
Mm-hmm.
probably every dealings I've had with these other people in my past, like not getting to know them fully through and through. Maybe me trying to get to know them, but them on the other end, they're trying to rush. And you have to meet in the middle with that. If that one person, if you're not ready to take that next step and they're ready to take that next step, you guys need to figure it out. Because honestly, like, I feel like this is where relationships happen. Either sometimes people are hooking up and then all of a sudden they're together, right? Um, or
Naughty,
they're
naughty.
jumping to that because this person is fine. They got a
Mm-hmm.
banging ass body. Now they want to smash, and they skip over actually getting to know that person because they're letting sex overplay all of that. All of
It's
that.
all lust. Like, people
You
confuse
gotta
it.
have like that '90s. I feel like that was it in Love Jones where
Mm-hmm.
she had him waiting. Yeah, she had him waiting. She had him waiting. Honestly, and that's I have like an old soul. Like I think like I'm like old school. I think my values is old school. Like I would prefer that. And it's true. Like you could have someone waiting for 6 months and shit goes up in flames, or you could smash on the first night. Everything might be good. Shit. Why is my nose going like this? But um, it's just going at your pace. I feel like some things have been forced. A lot of times, people's things are forced because they feel like they're going to be missing out on something if they don't do something at that particular time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm somebody like you said, I'm 27. I know that sounds young to some people. That's old to me.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to really just buckle down, so I don't have time for the like dudes is in my DMs every day talking about, oh, I want to get to know you. No, you don't. I know why you're here. And what you're here for, I can't provide for you.
That's
And
a
I've said
fact.
that to people, but it's all about, really, like you said, learning people. And I'm
I
gonna leave it
think
at that.
I think with you, you gotta understand. You're getting older in age. You're 27. You looking to settle down. Your time is your most valuable currency right now, and it's a thing you don't want to have wasted because you're looking at your time frame to get married, your time frame to have kids, your time frame to be in the career that you want, to have the man that you want. That is all it. Feel me? But I
They
think
said
that
you the police.
who, who the police? But
Said you
but
the
getting it
police.
past that is just basically you understanding that you don't want people to waste your time. Feel
Mhm.
me? Simple as that. You don't want people to waste your time. So you got to make sure that the person that you're communicating with, there's time already established. Because I feel like you're over the whole favorite color, yada yada yada, all that QC shit. You're over all that.
I
Like,
don't got
I
one
want to
favorite
know how
color
you
left in
think.
me.
I want to know how you are. So I want to know if you are the person for me, or the person I can make for me, or the person I'm gonna end up being with. Feel me? So that's just the game you got to play right now. So I feel like you're better off, chilling on the new people unless you get into a whole new environment and there's a bunch of fish out in the sea. But right now, for you, try buddy out, see how it works. Feel me? Be real cautious. Communicate. Like when I tell you communicate, because if you're dealing with a man that wants to be with you, he'll make sure every stone is lifted. He'll make sure whatever is needed to get done gets done, and he'll address the changes that he has to make himself. Feel me? And you'll see it in his actions. You won't have to worry about it. And even when you don't feel it, do him a favor and say something. Like, we getting a little too old for like the whole, hints, games, and everything like that. Men, we're really just solid creatures, bro. Like, you say go fetch, we will go fetch. That's why they call us dogs. Like, you say bring back stick, we will bring back the biggest stick we can find. Like, and if you just keep it that simple with that man, knowing that you have like, past trauma, past whatever, feel me, it's gonna work out. Like, I hope it works out because I want to see more black love. I'm tired of seeing all these damn baby showers and not enough weddings. I want to see more black love. I want to see more black people together. And I want to see more black women appreciated by black men. Feel me? Because that's what I really want to see. Feel me? We got to practice what we preach. We got to keep the culture together. We got to we got to be the gatekeepers of our own people. Feel me? So it is 9:31 right now. I will have to end this call. It's been real. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for having this interview. We will have more conversations in the future. If you want to come back, let me know. And let us all know about this new dude. Feel me? We're rooting for you, bro. Like, we're
Thank
rooting
you.
for you. You got this. Don't fuck it up. But all right. Good night, people. I got another episode dropping. It's an entertainment episode. Please come back and check that out. It's been real. Thank you, Miracle. It's been real. Thank you.
Thank you.